I'm Smith. So now let's start with the problem statement. It states that to check whether a given linked list is a palindrome or not. In order to understand this program, we need to know what is a data structure. So a data structure is a collection of elements in an organized and an efficient way. So now it's of two types: primitive and non-primitive data structure. The non-primitive data structure consists of a linked list. Now what is a linked list? Consider a node, right? So a node consists of two parts: a data and a reference to next node. This is called a single linked list. So how it works? Consider there is a node which is called a start. Now start points to the next node or contains the address of the next node, which is the first node. Now the first node then contains the address of the next node, and it continues in a sequence, right? So this I have created three noded single linked list, and always the last node points to null, which marks the end of the linked list. Now there is another linked list which is called as a doubly linked list. In this, there is a node which consists of three parts. One part consists of data, and other part are the reference or the pointers to the next or the previous node. So let's consider this is a start. So now start holds the address of the next node, and similarly the next node holds the address of the start. And so it continues in the same manner. The node holds the address of the next node, and the next node holds the address of the previous node, and it continues. And the last node always points to null, so that it marks the end of the linked list. Now we'll do a program on a palindrome. Now what's a palindrome? Consider this number 1 to 1, right? So if you reverse this number, then you get the same number, that is 1 to 1. So this is called a palindrome, in which the original and the reverse number is the same.
So friends, I'm Vatsal. I'm here to explain the logic of our program, which is to check whether a given linked list is palindrome or not. So we take the first logic, that is using single linked list. For a single linked list, I have taken 5 nodes. I am taking a pointer variable which is starting to the start of the linked list. Now we traverse the pointer till we encounter a null position. That is when the pointer's next is equal to null, we end it and display the linked list. And now we start storing the data elements of linked list in an array. In an array, we store the data elements of linked list starting from the end of the array. That is, the first element of the linked list will get stored in the last element of array, and the last element of linked list will get stored in the first element of array, and so on. If the data elements of array is same as the data elements of the linked list, we say that it is a palindrome, and if both the things are not same, we say that it is not a palindrome. Second logic to approach this program is by using double linked list. In double linked list, we initially take two pointer variables, that is pointer 1 and pointer 2, which initially point to the start of the linked list. Now we traverse pointer 2 in a forward direction till pointer 2's next is not equal to none. Now pointer 2 points to the last node of the linked list, and pointer 1 is still at the start of the linked list. Now we make pointer 2 traverse in a reverse direction, as pointer 2's prev gets equal to start and pointer 1's next points to null. Now we compare the data elements of pointer 1 and pointer 2. If the data elements of pointer 1 is equal to the data elements of pointer 2, we say that the linked list is a palindrome, and if the data elements of pointer 1 is not equal to data elements of pointer 2, we say that linked list is not a palindrome.
Hey guys, this is Krupen. Now I will explain the code for palindrome using linked list. So a node consists of two parts, data and the address of the next node, and we define it as a structure using data type struct, and it is called using a pointer. Node is created with the help of dynamic memory allocation with the help of malloc. So here we have used the malloc library. We ask the user to enter elements one after the other. We use a pointer next so that the previous node points to the next node using this pointer, and we initialize this list to null. So here in the create function, we insert an element ELEM and we create the node. We enter the elements till we enter -1. If we enter -1, it means the list has ended. So here in the create function, we create two new pointers. One to create a new node, and the other as a reference to the next node, which is PTR. If the linked list does not contain any node, so the new node is created and the next part of the new node is initialized to null, which is shown in the if statement if start equal null. If start is not equal to null, the pointer PTR is initialized to start. That is if linked list contains a number of nodes, the pointer ptr is taken to the last node and the new node is pointed by this pointer. The next field of the new node is initialized to null. So here it is about the create function. Now we move to next, that is the display function. In this display function, we traverse the entire linked list from start to end till we encounter null, and we print the data of each and every node. So here it is shown in the code. If start is null, uh, that is if it does not contain any node. So we print empty, and if it contains a number of nodes, then we print the pointer data, the data part of each and every node, and we increment the pointer to pointer next.
Hey guys, so this is Aditya, and I'm going to be explaining the crux of our program. That is the part where we have to actually check whether the linked list is palindrome or not. So to check that, we have created a function called as reverse, which has a return type of void, and we have created and using the statement struct node star start, we are passing the linked list that we have already created. Then using this dummy pointer as struct node star ptr, and then passing the start value equal to ptr, we basically imply that the start of the linked list that we have already created has now been given to the variable ptr. Then we also create this array which is of size c. C here is basically the number of nodes in our linked list, or the count of nodes. Then using the if statement, we check that if start is equal to null, which means that our linked list is basically empty. So we directly print empty. Else we create and initialize this variable I with 1, and we check while there is actually a pointer next present. If pointer next equal to null, it does not go in the loop. But if pointer next is not equal to null, it will go inside, and the first node will go into the last element of the array. So a of c minus I. So supposing our value of c is 3, so a of 2 will have the first data of the linked list. And using ptr equal to ptr next, we increment the linked list, and I++ we decrement the array. After the while loop, when we reach the statement has actually been written because after the while loop there will still be one part of data, the last node, whose data has not been inputted into the array because the last node's next is equal to null. So the last node's data has to be stored in a of 0. So we have written the statement for that. Then we print the reversed linked list using this for statement, and print from I equal to 0 till count, and printing it. Then we declare a variable flag and again initialize pointer to start. Then we create another loop which is basically to check whether our linked list is palindrome or not. So we run it from I equal to 0 to I less than c and I++ for each time incrementing I. Then we check if the first element starting from 0 of I is not equal to the pointer data, then we set flag equal to 0 and print palindrome and break. This basically means that if the first element of the linked list or any element of the linked list is not equal to its corresponding value of the array, then we will set flag equal to 0 and print not palindrome and break it at that statement itself. But if it is equal, like the corresponding element of the linked list and its reverse are equal, we will set flag equal to 1 and then come out of the else statement and increment the pointer. Then after the loop gets over, we will check that if flag is still equal to 1, so our linked list is palindrome, which means our program is successful. Then we have written this main function as a menu driven function, basically to create a list, to display a list, to check if palindrome, or to exit. So if choice is 1, it goes to the create list function. If choice is 2, it goes to the display list function. If choice is 3, it goes to the reverse function, which is basically also checking our palindrome. Thank you.
Hello everyone, this is Anuj. As of now, we have learned what linked lists are, how do we create them, how to display them, and how to reverse it. So let's see if all of this learning was worth it and move towards the output of our code. First, let's create a list. One, two, three, two, one. We press -1 to exit. Let's display it. Okay, now moving towards the final step, which is to check if it's a palindrome or not. As we can see that the reverse list is same as the original list, it is a palindrome. Now let's check if our code works for a number which is not a palindrome. Create our list first. Two, three, 4, 5. Just want to exit. Seeing our list. Moving towards the final step. As we can see, our code is being executed properly, and the reverse list, since the reverse list is not the same as the original list, it is not a palindrome.